Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ryan Wolf.
I'm Ashley Paredes. The verdict is in. After 7 hours of deliberation, the jury found Uvalde CISD officer Adrian Gonzales not guilty on all 29 child endangerment charges tied to the Robb Elementary tragedy.
An emotional reaction in the courtroom following that very announcement. Tonight we have team coverage. Aryami Verhan and Jordan Elder have been following this case since the beginning. They join us live in Corpus Christi with the landmark decision.
Good evening, Ryan. Good evening, Ashley. It was heartbreaking to be standing outside and watching the families come out, mothers crying, many of them saying that they were failed yet again. They were failed on that day when their children were slaughtered, and that they were failed again today. We did speak to two of the parents, the family members, Jacinto Cáceres and her uncle, Jackie Cáceres' uncle, who was here, and he also sits on the school board, and they wanted to talk and share how they feel about the verdict that was handed out tonight.
We've been failed again, and it's going to keep on happening if things don't change. I mean, I'm angry, I'm sad.
I respect the jury's decision, but what message does it send out there? That if you're an officer, you can simply stand by, stand down, stand idle, and not do anything and wait for everybody to be executed, killed, slaughtered, massacred? Is that the message that you sent today?
Now, in the meantime, they were also asked about Christina Mitchell, the DA, what message they had for her. Many said that she needs to do better when the next trial starts for ex-chief Pete Arredondo. And Jordan, you were inside the courtroom when the verdict came out. What was that like?
There was such an overwhelming sense of anxiety before the verdict was read on both sides of the courtroom. All of the family members that were in there waiting, and then Adrian Gonzales' family as well. A lot of the family members of the victims had on necklaces with their children's faces on it. They were holding them, they were praying, and then when that verdict was read, there were tears all through the room. For the families, it was the feeling of ongoing injustice, and for Adrian Gonzales' family, it was relief. You could actually see him getting emotional, which is not something that we've seen a lot over the course of this trial. So Gonzales actually addressed the media just momentarily after that verdict came down. He says now he has to pick up the pieces. His attorneys say that there's been an incorrect narrative about him for a long time, and rebuilding is not going to be easy.
I want to start by thanking God for this, my family, my wife, and these guys are here. He put them in my path, and I'm just thankful for that. And thank you for the jury for considering all the evidence and making that verdict.
Is there anything you want to say to the families?
No, not right now.
This is now the second case where we've seen a school police officer acquitted after being charged for their role in a shooting response. Scott Peterson acquitted after the Parkland shooting in Florida. So Gonzales' attorneys, including Nicola Hood, were asked if this sends a message to law enforcement, especially since so much of this trial was based around active shooter training.
This case wasn't about us trying to send a message other than to consider all the evidence. I mean, we felt Adrian was innocent from the beginning when we analyzed the situation. We knew it was going to be a challenging case because of the emotions, the sheer emotions behind it, and those precious babies being taken from those families. And so we knew that. Well, I guess for us, as former prosecutors and defense attorneys, we would like to see more training with law enforcement in these situations that are so active and fluid and dangerous. And there's no one-size-fits-all for these situations, but also working with the schools. I think the schools need more funding.
And we should note that the Uvalde County District Attorney and the Special Prosecutor did not address media tonight. The defense team did, the families did. They have not been typically open about talking about this case, but we saw that again tonight. They did not address the media.
I think some of that's also because Pete Arredondo's case is still coming. But the other thing here tonight, and I want to make sure that people understand, they lost a key part of their prosecution. A key witness was left out because allegedly they had not turned over information to Nicola Hood and Jason Goss, the attorneys. So that key witness was thrown out. Pete Arredondo's case may not happen again.
That almost caused a mistrial, too. We all remember that at the beginning of the trial.
Correct.
Great job out there, guys. Quick question. Let me ask you this. Some criminal trial experts say that if this was going to be a guilty verdict, that the decision would have come very quickly. As the hours continue to move on, what was the feeling inside the courtroom? Was there fear that there might be an acquittal from especially the family?
I think that when we started hearing that the jury was asking a lot of questions, they were requesting materials like whiteboards and lists of witnesses, we could tell that they were going to be in there a while. And I'm not sure if it was more of whether they were weighing guilty or not guilty, or they just wanted to be really thorough. I think they were well aware that a lot of eyes are on this case, and they wanted to be thorough in whatever decision they made.
Yeah, and I understand. I mean, they didn't want to speak. We did try to talk to the jury when they left. We saw them weeping. They were crying. We have seen things that no one should ever see. No one should ever see autopsy pictures of children in their classroom. It was awful. And when we asked Jesse Rizzo about this also as a school board member, he sits on that school board right now because of Jackie's death. And he said they need to do better, and they know that. They still have some issues that we are going to continue following up on, including all the documents that have yet to be released. And why do we keep doing this? We do it because we want to ensure that all children in the state of Texas are safe.
Well, Yami, Gonzales' lawyers, as we heard, continue arguing that he was unfairly blamed for a much broader law enforcement failure. So how could this and much more impact on Pete Arredondo's case?
Well, this is now the second acquittal that we've seen for specifically a school police officer. Scott Peterson in Parkland, like we were talking about earlier, it was a very similar situation. He was accused of staying outside the school. He was accused of not acting when he had the opportunity to. So this could potentially create kind of a precedent. You've got these two cases now where a jury has found that school police officers, there are limits to maybe what they are required to do by law versus what they should do, and it's difficult to find that line. So that would be my thoughts on how this could potentially impact the Pete Arredondo trial.
There was also a soundbite, and of course people can go back to foxsanantonio.com. There was a soundbite when Christina Mitchell said in the courtroom, the DA, we teach children how to practice for active shooter, turn off the light, get down on the ground. And she said, we're literally teaching children, rehearsing for their death if they sit there and wait. Now, again, we have another trial that's coming up. And I think this, when we asked experts why this case first, many of them told us that usually they will try the case that they think may not be the strongest so they can see the mistakes and go on to the case that they believe is the strongest. So we don't know yet. And of course, we won't know until Christina Mitchell decides to speak to the media.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Thank you, Yami and Jordan, for your continued dedicated reporting out there. And as you know, at home, we've been covering this story since the tragic shooting more than 3 years ago, and we've followed every moment of the trial. You can see our complete coverage online at foxsanantonio.com and on our YouTube page.
Well, police are looking